And we're back
We're back.
again. You're going to get tired of this conversation. We're meeting too often.
Right. I wanted to talk about standards, and what standards are meaningful in the translation business. Standards in the sense that leverage everybody, the buyer, the LSPs, and the translators. I don't think that such a standard exists, and I wrote a blog about it. It's the most popular blog entry I've written. I've got like 18, 20 comments on it also, from all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Which surprised me, the kind of people that commented. They're people that have been thinking about standards for a long time. So I wanted to hear what you thought about.
I'm a little bit of a contrarian when it comes to standards. You know that saying that standards are great because everybody can have their own. The point, I think that there are two different standards, and for me, people who want to standardize process are wrong, because process is something that first needs to be adaptable to the situation, and also needs to be flexible, because the needs and the demands of the clients and the market vary from situation to situation. The quality expectations also vary depending on the type of content that you're translating. And when you talk about standard, you're talking about doing things the same for everybody. That's the concept of standard is
right.
Everything is the same. Everything is standardized. So I struggle a little bit with standards for translation. I don't struggle. On the contrary, I think that it's key to have standards in technology, interoperability standards. Right. And that's an area where Lisa made some progress. That's where they started. But I haven't seen things really pick up because the de facto standard in technology in our industry is Stratos.
Right.
And STL, when they had...
Not a standard, yeah.
Well, exactly. It's not open. It's not... So I look a lot at standards like EN 15038, which for me, I say jokingly that they were able to standardize how translations were done in 1952 or something like that.
Yeah, no, I recall when we met that guy from the Federation of Translators in China, and he had 5 standards, and they were all variations of this EN 15038.
Yeah.
And it seemed silly to make the same thing do the same 1950 standard over. I agree. Process standards, I don't. You need some structure, you need some rigor.
Yeah.
But a standard, I'm not sure if you can do everything exactly the same every time.
Yeah, I think I had an interesting conversation about. Well, this is real life, so phones ring in the middle of our conversation.
Right.
Do you want to turn it off?
Yeah, just thank you.
Hey, he has a BlackBerry. I have an iPhone. Mine is better.
Right.
But that's another show.
Yeah.
But anyway, but you see, this is bringing this little thing to the conversation. I have an iPhone. Yeah. I can talk to you on your BlackBerry. I can send you text messages. We can communicate. We can exchange information. We can exchange pictures. Standards for this type of stuff work.
Right.
If I were able to get a Trados translation memory and open it in Kilgray, in Virtual, that open source thing it's not open source. It's open source. The South African translation memory tool. Right. If we were able to have it's like databases. You convert database and you can open it in Oracle, you can open it in SQL, you can open it in Access, you can save it in CSV, in Excel. Data can be transferred from one format to the other quite easily.
Right.
And in translation, we don't have that. That's where I think we need stuff.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly, working with translation memory from all kinds of companies. We find there's so much inconsistency, there's so much variation in just the same basic thing, string A equals string B. And you would think that would be a simple enough thing to do, but there's amazing amounts of problems that are introduced.
What is the barrier to that? Why can't this standard stick?
I'm not sure. I think people in the translation industry have not really seen the need for real throughput. And wherever standards form, it's because if they don't form, it kills everybody. The whole ecosystem dies.
Yes.
And that's why they have to, like a CD has to be a CD because it has to go in cars, it has to go in your house, it has to go in PCs, it has to go everywhere. And you can't have a slightly bigger disk in one place and a slightly smaller disk in another place. Yeah. But I think with translation memories, you've had these little fiefdoms, and the worst one is Trados, and they've sort of just gone their own way. They started on the same foundation, but they stepped away from it. And what can Lisa really do to enforce that? There's no.
It was funny
power.
because when SDL had SDLX, they complained that Trados wasn't open, and then they bought Trados. Oh, that's not a problem anymore. It's somebody else's problem.
Well, I was at a conference in San Jose where there was these people from Adobe were talking about these technical writing products, and they were showing how and he actually did a live demo of this. Where they wrote the product, the content was created in one of their technical writing products, and then it was shifted, passed to someone else, and that guy edited it in Word, and someone else edited it in a text file, and someone else edited it in Google Docs, and that's what should happen. People are working with different tools. They all have different preferences, and
that's where I think that the competition that the market should be competing on features. I said in my blog when I made predictions for the industry, I said that by 2015 translation memories would be free or irrelevant, in the sense that the translation memory itself, the file in itself, has no value.
Right.
The value is in the tool that you use to process it. So if I use Trados because I love the features that Trados has, I will buy Trados. I will pay a premium to have that tool. If I prefer to use Killgray or Across or Deja Vu or whatever other tool, I will use those tools because they provide something that I need. In-language customer support, number conversion, currency calculation, little features that will make a difference. Let's say that I am an accounting translator and Deja Vu, just to use a name, has a great feature. I don't know if it does. I'm just making an example that allows me to translate balance sheets and keep the format. That might be very valuable for me, but if the translation memory comes in a Trados format, I will have a lot of work to do there. So
you're spending as much time on your conversion as you are on the translation.
But don't you think that part of it is the fact that the translation technology industry is really, really small? I mean,
that's part of it.
If you add the revenue of all the players in the space, you barely reach maybe $150 million if we're very optimistic.
Right, on the tool side, right?
On the tool side only.
Yeah.
So Language Weavers was valued. They lost $1 million and $12 million in revenue, and they were valued at $42 million. But when we measure the industry, we would count only the $12 million in revenue for them.
Right.
So it's very small, and this is probably why we have the challenge of having enforceable standards, because everybody's trying to build a better trap.
Right.
How do I maintain? How do I keep my clients?
A lot of people in software try to keep you locked. It's the Roach Motel. You check in and you can't check out. Yeah. So they want to keep you there because you buy upgrades and you buy extra add-ons and and you can get services and maintenance. And this has been the model for software.
But as a user of software, what I would like is to check in that Roach Motel and stay in that Roach Motel because I have great service, because the technology works, because I have upgrades and updates that are relevant to me, not because I'm stuck. I don't use this technology every day, but I have to pay for the licenses, and I have staff that works with all the technologies, because Milengo is absolutely technology agnostic. So we don't push, we don't sell technology, we are a services organization. So we have to work with all of them. And we struggle with inconsistencies and bad support and bad service. Right. This is where the clients should differentiate.
But I think also we talk a lot about how the translation world is changing. The need for translation is growing, and it's growing 10 times, maybe 100 times. So when you have 100 times the amount of information flowing, if you're screwing around with trying to get data from one format to another just to be able to do your work, you have serious problems. Because these problems will escalate when you have more and more of these tools around, and masses of data just flowing at you. So this is a problem that you have to solve. From all the way from the content creation to the editing to there's new tools coming in. Post editors and
exactly. And content should be transferable.
The data, the raw data should be.
If we talk about standards, what we should focus on is standards on the data, on the technology side, not on the process.
Right, on the data side.
So we agree
to make it really portable, to make it really interchangeable.
So we're still friends.
Right, we're still friends. I agree with you on the process stuff.
Good. Well, see you next time.
Okay.